I don't care how good they is right now. It's a whole different ball game.
It's a different
With somebody holding on your shorts the whole way to
and it's legal. And it's
Come
legal.
on, man.
When you run through the paint and you can get bumped, it's different. And that's my argument with people. It's like, it ain't no disrespect to anybody because they're all great. And you're going to argue back and forth and everybody's going to have their opinion. But I'm saying, which rules are we using? Because when you say, if you say we're using today's rules, okay, well then take Michael Jordan, who's battered and bruised.
Vince Carter recently challenged one of the most popular beliefs in modern basketball, and it instantly shook the fan base. LeBron supporters, in particular, did not take it well. The 8-time All-Star spoke openly about what he believes is an exaggerated story of dominance that has been repeated for nearly 20 years. Once he shared his thoughts, there was no walking it back. This wasn't about stats, championships, or highlight plays. Carter went deeper and questioned how greatness is measured in today's NBA. When you really pay attention to his words, it makes you rethink how LeBron's era is often viewed. The reaction was immediate and divided. Some accused Vince of hating. Others said he finally spoke the truth people usually avoid saying publicly. One thing was obvious: the conversation quickly became uncomfortable. What made it even more surprising was how casually it began. In early 2025, Carter sat down for what was expected to be a calm interview about his 22-year career. There was no buzz, no drama, just a discussion about basketball. Then the topic turned to LeBron James and the modern NBA, and that's when Vince chose not to give the usual safe answer retired players often give. He made it clear he respects LeBron as a player, but added that people need to be honest about what they label as dominance. That single comment shifted the mood in the room. Carter went on to explain that when he looks back, especially at the years between 2011 and 2018, he sees a player who benefited from a very favorable situation. According to him, the road wasn't nearly as tough as many fans like to believe. The tension was obvious. No one interrupted. No one laughed. Then came the comment that sent the internet into chaos. Carter pointed out that the Eastern Conference during that period was historically weak. He stressed that he wasn't trying to diminish LeBron's achievements, but said it was important to be honest. In his view, that version of the East was one of the least competitive environments the league has seen in the modern era. The clip spread everywhere within hours. Social media exploded. LeBron fans fired back, calling Vince bitter and irrelevant. At the same time, many former players and analysts quietly agreed with him. The discussion quickly shifted from whether Vince said it to whether he was actually right. This is where the idea of fake dominance really enters the conversation. Carter wasn't chasing attention. He was offering perspective from someone who played across different NBA eras. His point was straightforward but harsh: LeBron's path to 10 finals appearances was far easier than what teams in the Western Conference faced during the same years. From 2011 to 2018, LeBron reached 8 straight finals. On the surface, that sounds untouchable. But Carter asked the uncomfortable question: who was truly stopping him? In many of those seasons, the second-best team in the East would have had trouble even surviving the first round in the West. This becomes even clearer during LeBron's Miami years from 2011 to 2014. The difference between the conferences was massive. While LeBron was getting past aging rosters and young, unproven teams in the East, the Western Conference was a constant battle. Real championship-level teams were eliminating each other every round. There were no easy matchups, no breaks, just non-stop pressure.
That's well said, and that's what I said, because you're going to always ruffle feathers. If you're a die-hard Bron fan, you think it's disrespect when you say otherwise about him, Cole, and Mike. So that's just, it's going to be an ongoing battle, because unless they ever played against each other. Just imagine them playing against each other.
Whew. So for the record, you got MJ, Cole, but then LeBron?
Yes. Can
LeBron, in your opinion, with LeBron's maybe 2-3 years left, maybe 4, does he have an opportunity in your mind to possibly jump Cole?
He has
That gap between the conferences is exactly what Vince Carter says gets overlooked when people talk about dominance without adding any context. And he wasn't done making his point. Not even close. Carter reminded everyone just how stacked the Western Conference was during those same years. San Antonio was still running like a well-oiled machine. Oklahoma City had Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook at their peak. The Clippers were in full stride with Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. Golden State was just beginning to build what would become a dynasty. Houston had James Harden putting pressure on defenses every single night, and that's only part of the list. On the other side, Carter said the East looked very different. Once you move past LeBron's team, the quality dropped sharply. Not gradually, but fast. This is where the super team factor comes into play, whether people want to admit it or not. LeBron didn't just join a good roster. He teamed up with two other top-level stars in their prime, creating a lineup that overwhelmed a conference that couldn't match that level of talent. First it was Miami. Then it was Cleveland. Different teams, same approach. With Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love alongside him, LeBron's teams often had a clear talent advantage over opponents who simply didn't have enough firepower to compete. Carter was careful to clear one thing up. He wasn't saying LeBron didn't deserve his finals appearances. What he was saying is that the journey there was much easier than people like to admit. The strength of competition matters, and according to Carter, that isn't an opinion, it's a fact. When you look at the numbers, his point becomes harder to dismiss. During that 8-year stretch, most of LeBron's playoff opponents in the East were not truly elite teams. Very few even reached 55 wins in the regular season. In the West, hitting 55 wins didn't guarantee anything. That difference alone tells a powerful story. This argument carries weight because Carter lived it. He didn't analyze it from the sidelines. He played in both conferences, and he says the contrast was obvious. When he moved from the East to the West, it felt like an entirely different game. There were no easy matchups, no nights off. Every game demanded full effort. In the West, nearly every team had star talent, and every playoff series felt exhausting. While LeBron was reaching 8 straight finals, Western Conference teams were knocking each other out in intense 7-game battles. Championship-level squads were getting eliminated early, not because they were weak, but because the competition was relentless. Carter ended by posing an uncomfortable question. How often did LeBron face a true title-level team before reaching the finals? Maybe once or twice in a given run. Meanwhile, teams in the West were dealing with championship-caliber opponents in every single round. That difference, Carter said, matters, whether fans want to accept it or not.
Vince Carter. That's kind of cool. I like that for you.
It was kind of cool.
We got the NBA cap.
VC, what's up, my dog? You all right?
Everything. Yeah, man. I'm good.
Carolina soccer girls team. Shout out to them. Get another natty.
Out to the soccer team.
Number 22 for the women's soccer team.
Okay.
Running them up.
Okay. Don't just say it like that. Just don't say it like that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, that's life-changing. I'll go home and write about it. Thank you.
It's about the Florida Gators, number 9th in the country in men's basketball. BC.
And now for the part most people avoid. Carter said, LeBron's playoff stats are incredible, and nobody disputes that. But context matters. He explained that many of those numbers came against teams that, if they were in the West, wouldn't have had a realistic chance to reach the finals. Some squads wouldn't have even survived the first round. The talent gap, Carter stressed, wasn't subtle. While the West was stacked with MVP-level players, elite defenders, and physically dominant teams night after night, the East was mostly LeBron at the top, and then a sharp drop-off. In some seasons, Carter suggested the second-best team in the East wouldn't have even made the playoffs in the West. He also highlighted something fans rarely think about: travel and physical toll. Western Conference road trips are grueling, long flights, hostile arenas, tight standings, and zero margin for error. The East, by comparison, was much more predictable. LeBron's team was expected to reach the finals, the only question was how quickly it would happen. Carter made it clear this wasn't disrespect. It's about honesty, he said. Legacy debates fall apart without context, and context changes everything. Then he asked the question that set social media on fire: if LeBron had spent his prime in the West, would he still have reached 10 finals? Maybe. Maybe not. But 8 straight? Carter wasn't convinced. The reaction was immediate and intense. Within a day, the basketball world split in two. No middle ground. One side supported Carter, the other attacked relentlessly. LeBron fans called him bitter, irrelevant, even ringless. The insults were loud and personal. But something unexpected happened. Former players, analysts, and longtime fans quietly started agreeing with him. Finally, someone said it, a former player posted. Others echoed the sentiment: this isn't new. It's just never been said out loud. The generational divide was obvious. Younger fans saw it as disrespect. Older fans, who remembered brutal playoff battles year after year, nodded. They recognized the imbalance because they lived it. Media outlets jumped in quickly, shows ran full segments, podcasts broke down stats, YouTube channels dissected every angle and racked up millions of views. Some tried to stay neutral, others went all in on one side. Even a few current players quietly hinted they agreed, though they didn't say it publicly. One veteran put it bluntly: we can't even talk about this without chaos. Vince is right, but the LeBron brand is too powerful to challenge openly. And that, Carter implied, is the most revealing part of this debate. When questioning a popular narrative sparks this much backlash, it shows just how protected that story really is. Carter wasn't backing down. When asked if he regretted speaking out, his answer was simple and firm: "Why would I regret telling the truth?" And that's when the discussion shifted from debate to discomfort. Because once you consider Carter's point, you're forced to face a bigger question: what does this really mean for LeBron James' legacy? If LeBron's Eastern Conference dominance came in a historically weak environment, then how we measure his accomplishments, and even greatness itself, has to be reconsidered.
I want to get your take on LeBron, because you've played against him since he was a young pup. What's the biggest difference of him then and now in terms of how he just keeps getting better?
Dedication. He has goals in mind, what he wants to accomplish, and it's clear that he wants to be the greatest. You know, when he's saying, you know, I want to play so many years, like I'm saying, I want to play as long as I can. He wants to be the greatest. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, those are people that we throw around. He wants to be there. So I think now he's
10 finals appearances sounds untouchable. On paper, it looks legendary. But if 8 of those runs came through a conference that offered little real resistance, does that change how much weight we should give them? Carter was careful to clarify he wasn't tearing LeBron down. "I'm not saying he isn't great," he said. "I'm saying context matters when we talk about greatness." He challenged the common narrative with one simple question: dominated who? That's the part nobody wants to answer. And it's why comparisons to Michael Jordan keep coming back. Jordan played in an era where both conferences were stacked with Hall of Fame talent. Every playoff run was a battle. There was no easy coast to the finals. The same was true for Kobe Bryant in the 2000s. Reaching the finals meant surviving a Western Conference that was pure chaos every year. Carter highlighted that LeBron's finals record stands at 4 wins and 6 losses. Then he asked the question fans hate hearing: what if LeBron had faced Western Conference level competition in every round? Would he still have reached 6 finals losses, or even 10 appearances? Carter didn't think so. This isn't disrespect. It's reality. During LeBron's prime, the West was so stacked that championship-caliber teams were eliminated before even reaching the finals. That brutal gauntlet didn't exist for LeBron until the finals themselves. And by then, his teams often ran into opponents who had already survived punishing playoff runs. The league has changed since then. Talent is more balanced now. When LeBron finally moved west with the Lakers, he missed the playoffs in his first year. The following season brought a championship inside the bubble, which, fairly or not, raised eyebrows. Carter's point wasn't that LeBron wouldn't succeed in the West. He absolutely would. But would his resume look the same? 10 finals appearances? Carter didn't think so. And again, this isn't hate. It's acknowledging the path LeBron avoided for over a decade. Stats tell one story, rings tell another, but context ties it all together. That's what Carter forced people to confront: LeBron's greatness is real. His longevity is unmatched. His basketball IQ is elite. But his path to dominance ran through the weakest conference the modern NBA has seen. And if we're serious about legacy, we can't ignore that. Carter summed it up simply: without drama, 20 years from now, people will look at LeBron's numbers and assume he faced the same resistance as Jordan or Kobe, but that isn't true. So here's the real question: does context matter when we talk about dominance, or do results count no matter how smooth the road was? Could LeBron really have reached 10 finals if the conferences were balanced during his prime? It's hypothetical, but rooted in a real competitive imbalance that lasted more than a decade. Carter isn't the first to notice it, but he's the first high-profile former player with the credibility and courage to say it out loud. That's why this discussion hit such a nerve. We'll never know what LeBron's career would look like in a perfectly balanced league, but we do know what actually happened. The Eastern Conference struggled. The Western Conference tore itself apart every year. LeBron often had clearer paths to the finals, while Western teams fought through constant wars just to get there. And when LeBron moved west, reality hit fast. The road wasn't smooth anymore. The margin for error vanished. Everything became harder. Maybe the real question isn't whether Vince Carter is right or wrong. Maybe it's why so many people panic when this topic comes up. Carter opened a door fans wanted shut. His comment on fake dominance isn't hate, it's honesty. It's about recognizing the era, the league structure, and the advantages LeBron had. The East was weak. The path to the finals was clearer. Context matters when discussing legacy and greatness. LeBron is still one of the greatest players ever. That's not in dispute. But if we're going to crown him the greatest of all time, the full story has to be considered, including the parts that make his resume slightly less untouchable. This debate isn't ending. In fact, it's just getting started. Does dominance mean the same thing when competition is historically weak, or do results matter no matter how easy the path? Drop your thoughts in the comments, but keep it honest. This conversation needs truth, not blind loyalty. And if you want more of these uncomfortable NBA truths that most people are too scared to say, hit like, subscribe, and stay locked in.